Kiranga and the Kubandwa spirit cult, Burundi. Mysteries of the great ancestral spirit. Welcome to TessyTales, timeless stories told your way. Today, we journey into the heart of Burundi to uncover the mysteries of Kiranga, the great ancestral spirit, and the rituals of the Kubandwa cult. This is a story of faith, healing, and the unbreakable bond between the living and the dead. So, settle in and let the drums of Burundi guide you into a world where spirits walk with humans. Long before modern religions reached the rolling green hills of Burundi and Rwanda, the people lived in close communion with the land, their ancestors, and the unseen spirits that shaped their destiny. The land was alive. The rivers, the forests, the mountains, each carried whispers of power. To the Burundians, the ancestors were never truly gone. They walked among the living, guiding, warning, and sometimes punishing. Among all these forces, one name stood out: Kiranga. Kiranga was not a god in the Western sense. He was an ancestral spirit, but not just any ancestor. He was the brother of the mythical first king of Burundi, and through him, he embodied both royal lineage and spiritual power. The people believed Kiranga lived between the visible and the invisible, a mediator between the human world and the spirits. When life became difficult, when illness struck, when crops failed, or when enemies threatened, the people turned to Kiranga for help. In oral traditions, Kiranga was once a human, a man of royal blood, deeply respected for his courage, wisdom, and connection to unseen forces. When he died, he did not vanish. Instead, his spirit grew larger than life, becoming a protector and guide for generations to come. He was believed to wander the hills and forests, watching over the people. His presence was felt in the wind, in the cry of birds, in the flicker of flames at night. And so, the cult of Kubandwa was born, a spiritual tradition that revolved around honoring Kiranga and calling upon his power. Kubandwa literally means to be possessed, or to be mounted by the spirit. In this sacred ritual, the spirit of Kiranga would descend upon chosen mediums, allowing him to speak, heal, and guide through them. Imagine a gathering at dusk. The air is thick with the smell of burning herbs, drums beat rhythmically, voices rise in song, and people sway in trance-like dances. At the center, the medium, often a woman, begins to tremble. Her body shakes, her voice changes, her eyes roll back. The community falls silent. It is no longer the woman speaking. It is Kiranga himself. Through the medium, Kiranga offers guidance. A farmer learns why his crops are failing. A mother finds a cure for her sick child. A warrior gains courage for the battles ahead. The rituals were deeply communal. They were not only about healing individuals, but also about binding the community together. The Kubandwa cult also had songs, dances, and sacred objects. Drums, gourds filled with sacred beer, and animal sacrifices all played a role in calling the spirits closer. But above all, the cult emphasized respect. Respect for the ancestors, for Kiranga, and for the unseen world that governed the living. One of the most important roles of the Kubandwa cult was healing. In a world without modern medicine, illness was often seen as the result of spiritual imbalance. Perhaps an ancestor had been neglected or a spirit offended. The cult provided not only physical remedies, herbs and potions, but also spiritual ones. Through possession, Kiranga or other spirits could reveal the cause of sickness and prescribe a cure, but healing was not limited to the body. There was also healing for the soul. People suffering from grief, guilt, or fear could find peace in the rituals. Kubandwa was also tied to power and kingship. Burundian kings were expected to show respect to Kiranga, for his blessing was believed to ensure the stability of the kingdom. Without the ancestral spirit's favor, even the greatest king could fall. Though Kiranga was the central figure, the Kubandwa cult also honored many other spirits. These were often spirits of nature, warriors, healers, or even foreigners, who had died but whose spirits had grown powerful. Each spirit had its own personality, songs, and rituals. But in the hierarchy of the spirit world, Kiranga stood supreme, the leader of the ancestral pantheon. the one to whom all others ultimately deferred. This rich spiritual network made the Kubandwa cult more than a religion. It was a way of life, an entire worldview where the visible and invisible worlds constantly interacted. When European colonizers and Christian missionaries arrived in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, they were both fascinated and horrified by the Kubandwa rituals. To the missionaries, possession looked like witchcraft. The songs and dances seemed pagan and dangerous. They banned the cult. They destroyed sacred objects. They tried to replace Kiranga with Christian saints. And yet, the Kubandwa cult survived. It survived in secret ceremonies held deep in the hills. It survived in whispers passed from grandmother to granddaughter. It survived in the songs and dances of the people, hidden beneath layers of Christian symbolism. Today, echoes of the Kubandwa cult can still be found in parts of Burundi and Rwanda. Though often mixed with Christianity, the spirit of Kiranga lives on. What does the story of Kiranga and the Kubandwa cult mean for us today? It tells us that human beings everywhere seek connection. Connection to the past, to the unseen, to each other. It shows us the power of community rituals to heal, unite, and give life meaning. And it reminds us that the spirits of our ancestors never truly leave us. They remain, watching, guiding, protecting, as long as we remember them. For the Burundians, Kiranga was not just a spirit. He was a symbol of resilience, of cultural pride, of the eternal bond between the living and the dead. This was the story of Kiranga and the Kubandwa spirit cult, one of Africa's most fascinating traditions. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to TessyTales, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another timeless story. Until next time, may the spirits of wisdom guide your path. This is TessyTales, timeless stories told your way.